Welcome, welcome to the Green Nurse Podcast, where we bring hope and inspiration for growth and healing. We're here to change the dialogue and stigma around what it means to feel good and be high. Hence the H for hope, I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing. And before we get started on today's show, we're going to be honoring the authors of Courage in Cannabis. I'm going to let you all know what we do here in the cannabis space as clinicians and as nurses. And here we go.
The paradigm of healthcare.
The Green Nurse is a holistic cannabis nurse that teaches on the endocannabinoid system and the safe utilization of cannabis and other progressive tools to help people reach a better quality of life.
I'm the founder of Holistic Caring. We're based here in California, and we do educational programs and case management for patients on how to use cannabis therapeutically as a medicine.
We're also here to decrease stigma around what it means to feel good and be high, hence the H for hope, I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing.
As the founder of Holistic Caring, I basically oversee the whole ship, and what we're doing is progressive education.
Cannabis actually supports all 11 organ systems, our immune system, and all the neurotransmitter signaling systems that give messages to tell our body to either do something or not do something. Because the plant was prohibited, it prevented health professionals, doctors and nurses from learning about cannabis as medicine.
I want to change the paradigm of healthcare and us paving the way into a new vanguard of medicine.
It's about education, it's about empowerment, it's about teaching people how to feel good, bridging the gap from what they're not getting from traditional medicine, utilizing different plant medicines, adaptogens, tips, tricks, hugs, and nugs of information to support and nourish the most important system in our body.
And it's a lot of soul work, a lot of love, a lot of discipline, and meditation. I'm using my life work as a testimony to others to learn how they can be their own hero and then go help heal the world.
And we are, as nurses, the game changers.
All right, there we go, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Very, very excited. I am honored and grateful to be able to bring the Courage and Cannabis authors to life in our special series honoring the authors of Courage and Cannabis. So Courage and Cannabis is a compilation of stories written by doctors, lawyers, patients, caregivers, entrepreneurs, and activists. Each story is unique and written with the hope of inspiring others. In these times, anyone that chooses cannabis or enters the industry has a story of courage. This is truly simply because a very short time ago, cannabis was illegal everywhere in North America. The authors in this book took a leap of faith and courage and decided that cannabis was the option for their lives. Some you will find had to go as far as questioning their spiritual faith in the process. The stories in this book are meant to help and motivate others. Ultimately, we believe this book is for you. As you read and delve into the chapters, you'll get to know the authors intimately, learning of their struggles, their triumphs, and their perseverance it took to be able to share their story in the pages of this book. The power is in the stories. And today we get to meet another one of the inspiring authors, Candy Flores, CBD cannabis health coach and author. And I'm going to pull up this cute little picture of you really quickly here, and then we'll go to your site. So we have Candy. Here she is. So I want to tell you a little bit about Candy, and she's going to share her story. So Candy Flores is a Texas native with a compelling story of healing. She's an author, certified cannabis and CBD health coach, medical cannabis patient, advocate, and enthusiast with a passion for plant medicine due to her personal experiences with its life-saving benefits. Candy strongly believes in the health benefits of cannabis and cannabinoids. Through her healing journey, she continues to share the therapeutic purposes by raising awareness, education, and offering support to new patients, new to plant medicine. As a strong warrior, she is the huge passion she holds dear to her heart. She continues to inspire others with her eagerness to explore the plant's potential benefits and enhance human health and well-being without dangerous pharmaceuticals. Welcome to the show, Candy.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to be here. And I want to show everyone the website because I just think it's just so beautiful and how they have depicted all of you brave, courageous authors and coming forth to share your compelling stories of healing. So this is Candy's page right here. You can see it, Courage in Cannabis, Volume 2, all about Candy. And her chapter is about how cannabis saved her life after her morphine pump was being revised after 5 years. And so you'll be able to learn all about Candy here on the website. This is their page, their website page. But now we're going to get back into the story of Candy. So Candy, we all don't wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to write a chapter in a book, or I'm going to be a co-author, or I'm going to come into the cannabis space. There's usually a compelling story that brings us all to the space where we are today, specifically with this particular plant, which I call the most misunderstood plant in the world. So what brought you to cannabis as medicine?
So I suffered from some traumatic events with my morphine pump becoming rejected by my body back in 2016, and actually this month is my 7-year anniversary with the morphine pump complications. So at that point, it led me to cannabis when I was left with no other option.
So let's wind back time a little bit, because we all don't wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to have a morphine pump to manage my pain. There's usually something that happens that leads to being put on a morphine pump. So what happened? Like, what was the, why morphine?
So I had some I have autoimmune disorders. I also have chronic pain syndrome, as well as fibromyalgia and other health issues. I tried oral medications. They did, steroid shots, just different surgeries for my back, and nothing was working. They tried a neurostimulator. We tried everything until I was left with no option. I was taking oral opiates. They kept increasing my dosing. At that point, they tried the morphine pump. It was helping, maintain my chronic pain. Of course, not knowing what was going to happen if something went wrong long term. I just was looking at the little picture, not the big picture at the time, because I wanted some relief.
Yeah.
It was helping, and I, signed up for it after they did the trial, and I had it for 5 years, had some complications, and then at that point, I had to go cold turkey without it.
Because it stopped working.
They were in there to revise it. They ended up replacing it. It
So it was
being
an
another,
internal pump. So it was a pump that they surgically put into your body, correct?
yes, surgically in my body. So I had morphine 24/7 for 5 years. Imagine that. I also had the bolus dose, so I had leads going up my spine. Um, which as well caused some neurological issues after the complications.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So who introduced you to cannabis? So how did cannabis come into the picture? Did your doctors suggest it?
Oh no, no. So being that I had to go cold turkey after 4 surgeries, the first one being in August, I developed some very severe infections. So the surgeries were back to back, every 4 to 6 weeks. As I healed, they did another surgery and another surgery. As they were done cleaning out, um, the withdrawals and just the severe infections and developing other health issues when that was going on, left me with no hope. Pretty much, sent me home and said, keep her comfortable. There was nothing else they could do other than, pump me with more morphine, or, they even they tried, on top of the oral medications, they did like nasal sprays, they did, injections. um, just everything. And I gave up. My body gave up. It was too much on my body. I couldn't fight anymore. I had trouble walking, getting out of bed. Um, but I'm here today thanks to cannabis. I never in my life thought that I would use it prior to that, just because I was raised, it was a drug. And I raised my kids the same way. So, yes, my kids had told me about it because they were, in high school. And um, of course, I was like, no, there's no way. It's a drug. I didn't want to go that way. I didn't want to get in trouble. And until finally, when I saw that there was no hope anymore, and I I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try it. What do I have to lose? Let me try it. And I think I smoked a couple of times during it was when everything was, I was weaning off and so forth. And I thought it didn't work. I tried smoking a couple of times, didn't work. Well, then a friend of my husband's, his wife was battling some type of cancer. I believe it was thyroid cancer, and she offered to give me some type of relief to try it because she saw how much I was suffering. Which it was RSO. My
Mhm.
husband would give it to me on a toothpick at the tip of my tongue, very little bit, and he would, give it to me certain times a day. I started seeing a big difference. I started getting out of bed. I started walking on my own. The withdrawals started, minimizing. And I just started seeing a different type of life. And I thought, this is something that can actually give me life back. So I mean, it made a 360 for me from where I was to, not only with the pain levels and the infections I was battling because of the healing part, but as well as the depression, the anxiety, just now I was thinking, it lifted me from some dark places I was at the time, and it gave me hope to live again. And
Yeah, I know exactly where you're at with that because my story too. Same thing. I was in bed. I was on over 18 pharmaceuticals, chronic pain. I couldn't take care of myself. I couldn't take care of my children, and it was actually a nurse that came to my house with a cannabis joint, who was 70 years old, who disclosed to me, Sherri, guess what? I've been using cannabis every day since I was 17. I'm like, what? You've
what?
been using cannabis every day since you were 17? She goes, yeah. And I'm not on any pharmaceuticals. And I've never been hospitalized. And I can't wait to go home and garden. Here I am in
Wow.
bed, sick and suffering. So it was a nurse, a retired nurse who introduced me to cannabis. Her father was a pharmacist in Massachusetts back in the early 1900s and 1920s. And they carried cannabis formulations and tinctures in their pharmacy. And she disclosed to me that their family grew it and they used it as medicine and they used it as food and they used it as fiber and they used it as fuel. They use this plant. And so it was very, very interesting just to hear that from a medical practitioner, from a nurse. And here I was a nurse and I knew nothing about cannabis as medicine.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Yeah, and just to think too, and just hearing your story too about how many patients, there was another patient. Did you have, is it chronic regional pain syndrome, CRIPS, that chronic regional pain syndrome? It rotates through different bodies, very similar. It's your body is on fire, like everything is on fire. And I took care of a nun that had that. She also had an internal neurotransmitter stimulating machine and fentanyl patches. So she was on enough fentanyl to operate on a football team. Seriously. So the amount of fentanyl that she was on, and it was the Rick Simpson oil, same, that allowed her to have her pain be managed effectively. So she was able to come off of her fentanyl. The difference is you had to go cold turkey, no morphine, and then figure out how to get
Right.
comfortable, correct? Yeah. So can you imagine if,
Right.
patients that
Yes.
are out there
I mean,
knowing that they could use this Rick Simpson oil to decrease the amount of morphine that they need with the potential of potentially coming off of it. So you are able to replace
Yeah.
your morphine pump with high levels of opioids that were harming you. I mean, managing your pain, but at the same time, not benefiting any other area of your body. So cannabis
Right.
comes along and wow, your pain's going away and you had a lot of other benefits to other systems in your body.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, the first year was, I just started studying it. I mean, I fell in love with the plant
Yeah.
and its benefits. And that's where my part one in the book, the title is Addictions and Desires, because I wasn't addicted anymore to, opiates or, my morphine pump. I was addicted to the benefits of the plant. It became the addictions and desires of learning more because I wanted to help others. I wanted for if I could save someone the years that I lost on the morphine pump, and that was
Ooh, you just froze. You froze a little bit.
that. I was on the patches, on Norco, on, Dilaudid, and, a little bit of everything else that I'm suffering from long term, issues with, my liver, my kidneys. At that time, I didn't know because I just wanted relief.
Yeah.
So now I strive to help others, learn that plant medicine is very beneficial and it can save you a lot of years. And I just, like I said, I went in the first year just coaching myself on, the different benefits. Started off with just the THC because I knew nothing about it. Once I became more familiar, I started, um, I wanted more. The desire and the addiction just became so intense, like with the benefits of the plant. So I started, taking classes and researching and whatever I could on the different cannabinoids, and then I started incorporating them after the first year. At the same time, the benefits became greater. Um,
Right. Yes. Well, see, I also here, so you were on a lot of pharmaceuticals too. So how many
oh,
were you on prior to taking cannabis? I was on
uh,
18.
yeah, I was on at least 16. I Between 16 and 18, yeah, because it was
Lot.
one medication was for this. And then I started, the side effects. Well, then they were like, okay, well, just now they would give me another prescription. And, you know, and mind you, a lot of them I needed to take them, or I mean, I was told, I needed to take them with, like the Plaquenil and, just I was also on Neurontin, just
Same. 36.
Lyrica, just stuff that and those dosing,
I
those
call it bad chemistry. Lots of
yes,
pharmaceuticals make bad chemistry, right? And when you
yeah,
look at and when you actually look at it pharmaceutical from pharmaceutical, they have shown that if you're on 5 or more pharmaceuticals, there's a 50% chance that these drugs are interacting. So if you're on
right,
10 or more, there's a 100% chance that these pharmaceuticals are interacting and probably not in your best and highest interest. And then when
absolutely,
we're talking and teaching, and you know this, Candy, about the endocannabinoid system, right?
right, mhm,
Pharmaceuticals, we're not anti-pharma. We're about the appropriate use of pharmaceuticals. We're about using pharmaceuticals as a complement, not as a
yes,
primary, right? We
ab
have the endocannabinoid system, and the system can be modulated multiple different ways. Pharmaceuticals don't necessarily modulate the endocannabinoid system in a healthy way at all,
mm-mm, nope,
right? So it's important when we're looking at that, and we're working with patients too, and specifically with nutrition. You know, I'm sure you started using cannabis, and I bet your palate changed and you became more excited to start eating different foods and in cooking with cannabis. Same with me as a patient. There was no one to teach or guide me. When there was no
right,
nurse for me. There was no, I had to learn on my own. Like literally, we became kitchen
yeah,
witches. That's what I
yeah,
call it. Became
yeah,
a kitchen
I started experimenting and making my own pomades and, cooking my meals and however, and I could just incorporate it to where I can consume it and discreetly and in a in the best way that my body could, tolerate it.
Yeah.
And
And then also to, where you live too. So there's a, particular in every state, the legalities is different. So
yeah,
you had to deal with the laws of your state.
right. Yes,
And
absolutely.
so, and following those guidelines and making sure that, that you stay safe. So also too was very interesting. So what do you think too? You said, that you don't just use THC, you use multiple other cannabinoids. Do you mind sharing with our viewers how you use cannabis as medicine? Because people ask, how do you use it? What are the products that you use? How do you take it? And I know as a patient, and I'm a patient too, I know you're going to say the same thing. We use multiple different types of products using multiple different ways,
Mm.
multiple different formulations, because our endocannabinoid system changes over time as we change. And the difference that I'm going to just say, and then I'll let you talk, is that what we're learning with plant medicine is plant medicine teaches us about our bodies. It teaches us about our smart bodies. It teaches us how to listen. We stop and we listen and we pay attention and we ask questions. And we're seeking to get into the relaxation response because we know that all of our 11 organ systems function optimally when we're in the relaxation response. So, how do we do that and stay safe, right? And to function, because it's truly about living your best life, is about functionality, and it's different and specific for each individual person. So, how do you use cannabis as medicine?
Absolutely. Excuse me. So I incorporate like CBD,
Mhm.
CBG, CBN, and of course with my pain, I do add the THC. I like the one-on-one, but I as well need more of CBD and CBG just because of my inflammation. I've got to make sure my inflammation is controlled. If I control the inflammation, my pain levels decrease. And it just depends on my days. Sometimes, of course, stress or I've been on my feet, or if I had a different type of day, then I'm going to increase my THC level.
Yeah.
But people think, oh, she just wants to be high. No, my THC levels are very low.
Mhm.
I use more of the cannabinoids, but I do use THC in there, and people have to understand that, you know, cannabis is not just THC.
Yeah.
It's all the cannabinoids and I use them on a daily basis. At night, I use CBN because it helps me sleep, and I would say I've got the best sleep patterns. I mean, but because I don't only incorporate plant medicine, I also um, need a full night's sleep. I need a good night's sleep because of my cellular health. I also do meditation. Also incorporate my essential oils just because I want to make sure that I'm as healthy as possible and to be able to help others at the same time. If I don't feel good, I'm no good to no one else. Whether it's my family, um, friends, or coaching clients, or I've
Yeah.
got to stay on top of my health. And like you mentioned, I listen to my body. I come first. My body's my best friend.
Yeah.
If it's reacting in some way, I'm either lacking, water or, sleep if I had to stay up late for some reason, or I wasn't home for something, or I I am very in tune with my body and the awareness of listening to it because that's
Mhm.
my health. Without me being there for my body and listening, no one else is going to take care of me.
No one's going to take better care of you than you. That's
That's
right.
right. And
That's abs
we only have one body, one,
That's it.
yeah,
One meat suit.
right.
That's it. That's right. That's right.
I
So
make sure I stay on top of it.
that's it. And there's no one more important than you. No one's going to take better care of you than you. And so we all implore you to learn about the endocannabinoid system, the most important system in our body, and
Mhm.
also check out Courage and Cannabis. So what I want to get to next is, how did you meet Dr. Bridget?
I met Dr. Bridget at a cannabis expo.
Ah,
It was actually in Dallas, and we she had just put out her first anthology, and I met her, and she had some of her books, and I told her a little bit about myself, and she's like, she told me a little bit about herself, and she mentioned how she wanted to share some stories, and that she was very inspired by my story. And we exchanged numbers, and I said, okay, if and at first I thought, oh, we'll see, because she still was in the beginning of it, and I think, like we spoke before, is like I don't think we knew it was going to happen so quick.
Mhm.
And until one day she calls me and says, "Okay, are you ready, to share your story?" And I thought, "Yeah, I'm ready," or not knowing exactly what I was getting into, but it was the best thing I've ever done. I'm not gonna say it was easy, because definitely wasn't. The first book, I ended up having a PTSD flare up after it published, just
Mm,
because it's a lot to endure. You're reliving your trauma, at not only as the chapter went out, but then the book published, and then that was another part of the journey. So my healing journey is still going, and I have to, keep fighting, and because the stigma doesn't make it easy.
yeah. Yeah.
But but yes.
Yeah, the stigma does not make it easy. Stigma is really, really hard because, I remember when I first started on my cannabis journey, I'm a registered nurse. What are they gonna think?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
And then
Mhm.
all of a sudden I'm feeling better and it's like, well, they're gonna think I'm high. I'm like, no, I'm feel good. I finally feel good. I'm happy. Be happy for me, right? Like I feel good. I was so
Yeah,
sick. I
exactly.
was already, right? So now that
Mhm.
you feel good, it's like so then you worry about what other people think and their perceptions, and that can be really, really challenging as well.
Mhm.
Because specifically because you're opening up your heart, you're opening up
Yeah,
your soul, you're sharing something that is so personal and so deep and I know, and I'm not going to speak for you, but for me, I know that the conventional system traumatized me, not by their own fault, but I was traumatized with pills and procedures. That was a
right.
big part of my PTSD, which led to agoraphobia. Would y'all think that I would have agoraphobia, green nurse on the go? No, I was in my house trapped. I'm kidding you. Like the
Yeah.
system, agoraphobia is real, folks. I want to tell you,
Oh,
it is
yeah,
real,
definitely.
right? And so the
Yeah.
bottom line is that we as clinicians, as nurses, as patients, as providers, the most courageous and brave thing that we can do is to share our story because it's going to help us to heal and it's going to help someone else to heal. It's going to save a life. If that's the only thing I do, if I get 50 people criticizing me today about me and who I am and what I do and how I show up in the world, but I saved one life, I'll take that 50 criticism any day.
Absolutely. N
'Cause that's
and
a life that was saved.
yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
totally agree, because it's not easy, but if the gratitude that you get back from saving someone or helping someone, or someone calling you back, just, I'm walking, I'm not using my wheelchair, because I've been there. I'm like, I know the feeling, and it's just amazing. I remember, thinking to myself, why didn't anyone share this with me so long ago? But they tried. I just
It's
I'm
interesting for me too because I was a nurse. I smoked a little cannabis in college. Every now and then, if I was an adult and there's going around, but I never in a million years ever thought of it as medicine until that
right.
nurse introduced it to me, which was really, really fascinating. I just looked at it as a fun tool to have a good time with. But now, wow, amazing! If you have a fun tool to do something with to enjoy recreationally, and then you have health benefits, that's even better.
Yeah,
We're going
it's
to
a
be
win-win.
presenting we're going to be presenting tomorrow night and at an adult use dinner tomorrow
Mhm.
night. And literally, it's about safe consumption. So, like people are consuming cannabis. Well, if you're consuming cannabis to have a good time, don't you want to know the benefits that you're going
Yeah,
to have?
yeah, most
Right. So,
definitely. Yeah.
and then make your recreational experience work for your health. That's
Mhm.
what it is. Wellness with weed. Very interesting topic. So, what is your involvement with Courage and Cannabis? I know that you're one of the authors, but you're also, I know you're Dr. Bridget's right hand woman.
I do the administration part for the book, and I was able to meet, some amazing authors and help them along the way, um, because experiencing being an author for book one, it was totally different. There was 18 of us, and now in book two, there's 39 of us. So yes, definitely was a little different, but uh, having the honor of jumping on with Dr. Bridget and helping and assisting and learning, evolving, and being able to help others share their story as well, because that's exactly how we're going to grow and help end this stigma.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what other involvement do you have in the cannabis space and what are you wanting to pursue? So, what are your goals? Isn't it so fun to now feel well enough to be able to say, I can make goals now, right?
Yes,
Cannabis has
it's
given us an opportunity to have goals again.
yes, yes, and give you the best quality of life while you're trying to do more, with goals, and just because it's an ongoing journey. So what was I just want to help others heal and educate them, keep advocating, keep sharing my story, and pursue and have a do use my health coaching certification for cannabis and CBD to be able to help others and guide them through their journeys. Because it's not easy when you do it alone. I feel it's a little harder and it takes longer.
Yeah.
Um, just because we've already been through it, we're able to guide them a little closer, basically holding their hand and supporting them. Because
Yeah.
as you know, if you don't have the support, you go up and down, for
You
sure.
totally go up and down. I mean, my phone blows up all the time. I'm on group chats with families, coaching them.
Yes.
Seriously,
Yes. No,
really.
yes, I totally
You
agree.
you get it. You get it because you do. People need help. They need to understand the nuances and how to self titrate and how to listen to their body and to pay attention and to ask those questions, and then to just to overcome the fear that listen, you know more about you than anyone. That's what we teach. We're
Yeah.
teaching people agency and how to make decisions that are best for them. So based on that, you're a CBD cannabis health coach.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
this is a cute question. I thought this was very sweet for me to ask you this. So where did you get your cannabis health coach certificate?
At Holistic Caring Network.
There we go. Yay. So what
Yes.
was that like for you?
It was actually a very great experience, just because after going through the classes, I went deeper into, different, as far as like mental health, the neurological, system, the
Endocrine.
endocrinology
Mhm.
system. Just was amazing knowing that I was able to pat myself on the shoulder and say, "You know what? I did a good job." Because I basically coached myself the first year, when I became a patient and I started using it medicinally, because I knew nothing about it. And of course, I had no one to go to either, because the state that I live in. So
Yeah.
I feel it was a great experience, and I recommend it to nurses, and I just feel it'll help you whether you are a consumer or not. It'll help you for your loved ones. Just I
Yeah.
feel people need to get educated on it.
Yeah. And the part that's cool that Elizabeth's the CEO and founder,
Mhm.
actually co-founder. I'm now co-founder. It's Holistic Caring and the Green Nurse. And so she's created a beautiful space. It's a network space that is off of social media. It is free. Anyone can come into the group. We do offer a free introductory to cannabis course. We have a free patient portal and support area. We just opened up a psychedelic space that we're doing monthly psychedelic support, education, and integration with cannabinoids. How can cannabis and CBD support those that are initiating and learning about psychedelics? Because it's really important. It's all tied together. So
Mhm.
this network is a space that's for free that people can come and observe and hang out. It's run by our nurses and our pharmacists. And it's also where we house our learning management system, where we have our courses for continuing education credits. So we have the Cannabis Health Coach Certificate, the Cannabis Industry Professional Program, the Global Clinicians Program. the Cannabis Wellness Coach Program, and we just launched psychedelics. So we have a psychedelic educational program for 6 continuing educational credit unions, and we bring in cannabis and the endocannabinoid system and the endocannabinoid dome to tie it in, because the endocannabinoid system is the most important system in our body. So if we are doing anything that has to do with anything treatment-wise with our physiology, we must bring in the endocannabinoid system. It's critical, and it's critical for clinicians to understand that everything that you tell your patient to do or don't do in their lives, health, wellness, pharmaceuticals, activities, pills, procedures, etc., affects the endocannabinoid system. So your role is to know those things that support and nourish it, and those things that don't. And if a treatment that you feel a patient should be on doesn't support their endocannabinoid system, you need to have a plan to mitigate those side effects and symptoms so their system doesn't get further down regulated. And that's what we teach. We teach all about that right in the network. Really powerful. Let me see, we have a comment here. There's Dr. Bridget. She came in to say hello. Yes, I'm so glad that she's here. Yay. And yeah, so this is the network. Candy, what did you learn most about participating in the Elizabeth's program? Because I'll tell you what, I looked at all the programs that are out there. I've taken the majority of them. I wanted to know, and I can brag about them because she's my business partner. But for you, what did you like best?
So I liked best that there was different sections. Like I was able to, as far as like, you I know I have some neurological issues that because of the morphine pump that I wasn't able to overcome. And I was with the program, I was able to deep a little deeper and learn a little more and to actually see if I could do more on certain areas or and not only for myself but for others that I've, supported, to give them support. So it was, I that was one of my favorite parts. And it was all in sections, there was also pediatrics, and I'm all about helping, and I was in the pediatric field for so long. So mental health, just a lot of that was very touching and um, that was some of my favorite parts that I was able to, okay, go back and I can refer to, okay, this section or that section or, and learn on them.
So it was multimodal learning. So you could actually see the slides, you could watch a video, you could download the PDF. There was resources. So there was
Yes.
a lot for you to unpack, a toolkit, right?
Yes.
So if you wanted to start your own business, there was everything in there that you could possibly utilize if you wanted to do your own coaching and consulting.
Yes.
That's good.
So that's where my goals come in. That's where I want to be. I want to be able to coach others, and I've got my certification. I just need to set some time and get it started, kick it off, and
Get it started.
yes,
Mhm.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So what has been the most positive thing about becoming an author for Courage in Cannabis?
The most positive thing has been being able to inspire so many people around the world. In book one, I set the story from my perspective and exactly, a little bit, of course, not the whole story, but I summed it down in a chapter of what, I went through. In book two, I thought, well, now I was involved and I was doing admin work for the book, and I thought, well, what part should I or can I or do I, share? And then I thought I gave it some time, and then it came to my mind to I always tell others, not only the patient goes through the, what they're going through, you go through it as a family. And I thought, which best way to tell, tell or explain to others that to prove that the family does get affected. Your loved ones do go through it with you. So
Yeah.
book two, the chapter, what was the spark? So my son uh, set this, the story in his perspective and how and what he saw.
Wow.
So him writing the chapter in his eyes was very touching, um, and I know because I saw them go through it with me,
Yeah.
you know. So then
It's
reading the
really
chapter, yeah, was
that's really meaningful to just to and just taps on another thing about chronic illness and the impact it has on our families,
yeah,
right? So, oh wow. Yeah, so to have your kids' perspective, that's
yeah,
really, really powerful for them to share the transformation of their mother.
yes,
That's beautiful.
yeah.
Wow. Really amazing. Good work.
Thank
Good work, Candy.
thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, for our new viewers, so if anyone is new out there, new to cannabis, right? So they're scared. So at one point in time, you didn't think that you were going to use it. It was something, it was an option that you hadn't really thought of. For someone that's new out there, that's questioning, should I try this? Should I not try this? I don't know what to do. What would be your message? What would be your message to them?
Of course, start small for
Start a little bit.
sure, and just know make sure your products are tested, because that has a lot to do how you're going to feel and the benefits of it.
Yeah.
Just so it doesn't scare them away,
Yeah.
because they could get too high and get anxiety over it. But I feel the best advice would be, don't be scared and don't let it be your last resort. To where you can actually learn more on it when it's not your last resort. When it's your last resort, you're kind of at the very end, so you're weak. You're vulnerable. You're kind of hesitant if you're using it as a first resort, or I feel like you're a little stronger. Your
Yeah.
mentality's there. You're not in dark places, and you're not,
Right.
um, but definitely learn on it. And even if you don't need it now, get educated on it.
Yeah.
Just learn that the cannabis plant is not just THC. For one, you're not gonna, be high using it. You can
Yep.
use different cannabinoids. Let's control the inflammation, and that'll help relieve pain, and just little things that we were not taught. You
Yeah.
know,
Absolutely, that we were not taught. Absolutely. So, well, this brings us to the end, and we have a sponsor. So today's show is brought to you by. Let me just pull this up. Hold on, I'm new to this. All right, today's show is brought to you by Bloom Hemp. Bloom Hemp is a woman and nurse-owned national hemp and CBD supplier, leading with quality, safety, value, and patient-centered care. Bloom Hemp products are USDA organic CBD grown in the mountains of Colorado and tested for purity, potency, cannabinoid, and terpene profiles. Bloom Hemp is proud to offer a free nurse line to answer questions and explain how and why CBD works in the body. So go to bloomhemp.com and for your first order, use Green Nurse for 10% off. And let me just put that over there. And there's one other little graphic I'm supposed to share. There you go. And there you go. Sample pack. Whoop. For those that are new to cannabis, there you go. There's a sample pack of these amazing different products that Bloom Hemp has put out. You can use Green Nurse for 10% off and free shipping. All right. And so that is a wrap for today. It was an honor to have you on, Candy.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I'm honored that I'm going to be interviewing. I've only done 2. I've got 37 more interviews to do. Lucky me. So I'm very, very honored that I was asked to be able to interview all of the authors to bring you this special series honoring the
Thank,
authors of Courage in Cannabis. And
thank you.
remember, you're welcome. And remember, everyone, what it's all about. It is truly all about living your best life and helping others do the same.
We're here to educate and empower patients to make choices that are best for them. We're also here to decrease stigma around what it means to feel good and be high. Hence the H for hope, I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing. The Green Nurse is a holistic cannabis nurse that teaches on the endocannabinoid system and the safe utilization of cannabis and other progressive tools to help people reach a better quality of life.
I was cannabis agnostic for many, many years. And you know, the more research I did, the more I discovered that cannabis is this amazing medicine.
I was told that I had a 4-stage pancreatic cancer. The doctor really told me he couldn't do anything else. He gave me her name and she called me and she came to my house. She started to give me cannabis. My oncologist was puzzled because he couldn't find the cancer anymore.
All of the learning that we get comes from the Green Nurses Group, comes from their support, comes from their guidance. I trust everything that she says.
Simply meet people where they're at. The plant doesn't, stress to grow, so we don't stress to share it. We're healing people.
Cannabis has been used as a medicine for tens upon thousands of years. Here's the big message. Cannabis needs to be federally legal. We need to have laws that are the same across all 50 states that allow access to anyone and everyone who wants to utilize this powerful medicine.